왕 고요래 드리다다 서로 토익이라 드리 왕티 유치지 좋다 여러분들 취를 갖다는 여러분들 야요 드리 잡라더니 말에 왕건이 봐 여러분 공부 또 좋다 제이 드리 좀 초당에.
There's going to be a brief teaching on the creation or generation stage of Vajrasattva practice as it was scheduled. And this is going to be followed by Tso offering.
드리다가 왕 지나가는 라왕 리바데 왕 톱나 가래 팽겨요 왕 마톱나 가래 넣어요 대 가가 하고 그래.
Wang or empowerment. Receiving empowerment is to empower oneself. And it is important to understand the benefits of receiving empowerment and also the negative side of not receiving empowerment.
다른 고성토 왕섬제 왕섬들 때니 다다 다 담보 르라 사이 거 왕들라 르죠 왕차 랭기요래 대왕 마톰나 가리 요거리는 다다 소시적으로 때래 게바 용바 다마 포모 소는 간들이 간데이 간 르디 총화 신반데 산이 샤나 바도네요들이 지와 섬을 말랑가 바도 다 루테다 메라 요 파르낭네 데니 동에 다타나게 데니 뉴모 바토글 콘네 로와르로 콘도요 라왕 메바가 박차 민바요레.
You received three empowerment in Sanskrit: Kaya, Vaka, Chitta, body, speech, and mind of Vajrasattva. When you receive body empowerment, that means you are empowered to visualize yourself as Vajrasattva. If you do not receive body empowerment, then what is going to happen is you are going to cling onto the notion that I exist inherently. That kind of clinging onto is going to be imprinted on your mind stream, and you will be habituated in believing that there is an inherent I existing. And when you pass away from this life, you are going to take that mental image forward, and during these Bharta stages you will go through some kind of phantom experience of having a body which you do not have.
Tela tate ludi bakchara tini chendela jiwa ngamage given devela tini deva chungzeli jungu yore tourism with deva given devela tini dungi jungu yore pena mangshu dungi jungu yore pena jacha nga deva ina gupte dungi yore tourism na deva tere Dina pena ta ludere semni jigi samdere te jig mare kakare ta wangder ngopde jena lude ngora bi shisona lude mada ba zawale mare dakura mi pena dakwa 가리는 pena si dada 사천mel로 설은 용왕 nga요래 나 탐지 사지 뚫을 거래 나 탐지 sem지 탐지 피바다 제와 망보 때해요래 원래 데라티는 선 용왕아 될 trouble 루데라 데는 용왕아가 하지 열에 루디 나는 것도 샘제요래 샘데는 유몽아 있다 열에 유몽아한테 라비 시소나 유몽아한테 뭐 시소나 빼 이시간라 저야 요래 다 상제로 요래 데 마시는 유몽아한테 칼라 유몽아 센나자 도차 칼라 센나자래 유몽아 톡은 절래 독적을 단도와를 참도요래 되나 디스나 마미바 멤바 되는지 사지 샘지니 저쪽 이제쪽래 心痛我嘛就去把人去嘛就去把人这里对了他往个搞出了我住进了他就没把结果嘞没住进了搞的结果嘞他当我绿了来怪往他的接人绿就把他的呢绿的生命卡卡的生可能没弄能力的刚要做出来有嘛结果能力的对了拉刚过了刚用着让人用着有的底下讲的大啥个用我讲啥一个了对讲说呢绿的怕接着有的三你小个那批事了多了拉天了一个了这了的他绿让往头了的
And this very body of ours is because of our habituated tendencies. In this life, yes, we will experience happiness. That happiness would be probably something like 5%. The rest of it would be suffering, pain and suffering. We have this idea that body and mind are the same. And these are not same. Physical bodies, the nature of one's physical body is purity. It is the 5 elements. 5 elements are the manifestations of the enlightened being. There are the 5 elements to benefit sentient beings. Our own body is the constitution of our own body is the 5 elements. And in this body lies our mind. And in our mind we have the 5 afflictive emotions. If we understand the nature of these afflictions, then we turn the afflictive emotions into 5 wisdoms. If you understand that and experience it, that is enlightenment. On top of the 5 afflictive emotions, if we add the miserliness, stinginess, and that becomes 6. These 6 negative emotions are the reasons for one's rebirth in the 6 realms of existence. Empowerment ripens our continuum, because the nature that lies in all of us is the same Buddha nature, is same as the nature of enlightenment. And during empowerment, that nature is introduced to you. So when you receive body empowerment, you purify all bodily related obscurations. Mind, its nature is like a looking glass. Whatever kind of deities you visualize will be reflected on your mirror-like mind. When you meditate on deity, then you can change your physical body into the deity body. And that is what's meant by empowering you to shift from your physical body into the body of the deity.
ngā la sōngu wāngze, ngā la sōngu wāngte, mā tōp na kārī yungu yore tēnā, pēnā mēchī ka cik nīmō tē chūla xie na, nī ngā nīmō xie tōn tē ngā lō tē yī chī ka tōpō pēn tē chā xie yin rō tī, nyōng tā tē ka lō yore, mā nī pā tē chūla cik mā nī pā nē chik xie chū mā kē mā nē tē xie na, tē sēm la zōng nē, kōng tō lāng nē tē la, 가시 미 가시 세리 제거요. 가시 로 망볼 때 셈만 이 정도 다 냐베 저사커요. 코로 되게 냐베는 제거요. 맞지게. 책을 내려 뒤에 control ngaja do cha he da tamok tha do sama nga la ti le or nyung yo le ole nyu mo ma gari je na de ge chu sen la je na yada la je ge yo le ya tamok chen na de ro le je ge yo le he dang chen na nya wa le je ge yo le ya dan do cha ji bo yin me le je ge yo le ole nga je la je ge de nyu mo ma to ke ta ro wa re to dong yin chu so ge yo le je pe na ta do go de de na pe na ta nga la song gu wang de ta de xie go dong ma ge wa de xie yo la de ko
Yes, sir.
dong yin de lo
Next one is speech empowerment. What happens if you do not, when you receive speech empowerment? Or what happens when you do not receive speech empowerment? When you do not receive speech empowerment, then what happens is when someone says something that is appealing to your ears, you're going to like it a lot. And you are going to say that that person is indeed my best friend. But if someone says something not so pleasing to your ears, that's going to generate a lot of negative emotions, sometimes to the point of killing each other. In lesser situations, one would not speak to each other for a long, long time. This kind of emotion is the cause for one's rebirth in the realm of hell. And speech is a source of a great many creation of great many negative karma. It can bring onto surface a number of afflictive emotions. Anything related to stinginess or miserliness will mean that one will be reborn in the realm of hungry ghosts, ignorance, animal world, aggression, realm of hell, and desire and attachment. One will be reborn. This kind of seems to apply to humans more so than others. Egocentric, pride, that's something that the gods have. So all these are reasons for one's rebirth in the 6 realms of existence.
다 나라서 왕 톱나 가리래 너무 나 어떻게 제거래 저 니발아 차 머니발아 당나 대충 출발해 저 소소를 여디데 요나 먹기 저 yap고 말이데 남나 추용디데 매도 저거 말아 저랑은 여디 르버 여디 매는 먹기 떠봐 야체는 저 야들어야 요 말이지 소소 가리에는 소시 좀 조당 용데 소시 하고 그래 제에서는 미리 책이 지서 말하는 거래 강 람나 미리 머니 봐도 람나 코란이 그저 말이지 뉴모 그저래 코란 다단 걸 컨트롤하네 그 컨트롤하네 랍이야 대 동반이 랍차도 요 말이 나도래 책 탐지 가리해나 빼나 파 딱고 맞아 봐 야샤나 들이 돈다 가리요 말이지 아래 남미스는 다른 거 파밀라 nga chapa mango xie ke yo drama da te tham che dong yo be ke cha de xie phe be ke cha mani be tham che cham ya ne di chap la ka le da nga da go le hla de nga de hla ga ko de sa gom le mai ba gom le di hla de ni sa wo sem da la in di ma di ge pa de de nga ba tra kyo de da go song le de ka le sem da hla yi ka ka me ba 샘들 공지차는 뻑되는 년들이 샘을 라딘 열더봐 가주지는 왕스 사트 같은 이 공지차는 대 산 라딘 하건 저기요래 변나 라곰 좀 매다버이 마대 롱다버이 송 되는 하건데 봐라 들이 세인 용어 같은 용화인데 트리플거래 되는 용어 같은 게 마인 니도 미 같은 게 마를 줄네 되니 샘부 똑똑 마당나 Then you tell Datam Chiran, sugar, and not debated upon Jundori. Oh, my, you tell Lamsan and Jero, Mister. Oh, then you are in the Chadam to Pachi, your money. Then Nala Ramang to your head, then Nala Songo uncle.
Now, what happens if you do receive empowerment? This case is speech empowerment. First of all, it introduces you to speech. And when you receive it, you will come to realize that all the sweet sounds and not so sweet sounds are all illusions. If you have good qualities, it wouldn't matter if people say otherwise. If you do not have good qualities, people can flatter you and praise you. Still, it will not instill good qualities in you. So it is important not to chase empty words. Whatever is said, whatever you hear is emptiness. There's no reason for you to have attachment to empty words. And it's important not to engage in idle gossip. Instead, one should recite mantra. One should visualize the body of Vajrasattva. And until your mind and the deity body merges, one should recite a mantra. Mind is something like a picture. Whatever channel you switch on, it's going to be reflected. And when you visualize deity, it is like the fire. A recitation of mantra is like wind. Wind enhances the fire. And in this way, all the sound of the elements will be the sound of mantra. Everything that is sweet to the ears or otherwise all turn into the sound of mantra. And then it will eliminate attachment and aversions arising out of speech, because one is empowered, one receives the speech empowerment. Yes.
I took your one, the Lunga, Yobotavere, Sendi, Burbotavere. That's similar took your one, similar took your head. Similar took your one, your body. That and Dorjes about one going. Solo Dorjes and Batek, Namke Karchabla chop their head. Took Chuka the Nipper, Chuka Jasa, and Namke Karchabla. 17 say, Yeta Kamla, chop your head. 아 딱보니까 사제 탑지 톡도 있으면 봐 찹대버람이래 도저히 선바들이 찹치고래 오 소소를 뒤져 열어야 다다다 생경고 단위 탐지게 때는 생경고 남도 매버 샘 남도 탐지 파절 근데 생경고랑 절대에 대해서는 참 남도 매버 샘 유능 돈 많이 봐라는 게 가자 왕보람등나 때문에 가시 때자 유능하다 가시 통통통을 남보 매버선 남가다 버선 통고요래 대 통고를 데려 딱지했다나 코 치롱 총롱 진 남가다 버선 셈된 내나 매매와 소수 셈되게 남게 같이로 찹대요래 오래 유능 뭐 공통의 사자 집에 따와도 과집에 따와든 되래 오 유능보 통 유능보 공통 오 당은에 남게 같이로 찹도 다른 신상제 임방고 마시데 다른 신상제리도 선 하콘크리 다다디 충충 기요래 다다 가래래 되나 랑그 셈고 남도 장이 가래셔 때 촉요래 셈로 땅kin 담지 온데 뉴몬바데 먹게 바래 하고요래 셈로 땅 미실 담지 ngalan no padang ngaje yo ko ngan do cha yo ko ta pen ko control yo ko nga lokho yo ko de ta ko to nyu mo wang nan ro yo le sem ta xin o de kyun yo ji ka si si ko le de ni che par de yo le wang ma tho ba tam che nyu mo wang de control le pen ko mo ta go to tak po me ba ta le ko ma chak pa tam che sa ja do ja je thal tang go yo le 나보 요와 탐제 추은저고요. 오 실업 요바 탐제. 오 창통문이 다만 팀이니 약합 참송고 그마 야문이 삼니 랑돌고 내는 마몽바디 실업 요래. 데르 대화양 요래. 실업 매바들 대화양 요면은 실화양이 송로 동고 천들어야 동해를 빼나. 토지 왕지바 뒤에 실업들 왕차요 그래지. 난그 돌지서 봐 대래지.
Mind empowerment. Mind empowerment is important because body and speech are the servants of the mind. Mind is the most important one. Outwardly, we visualize a Vajrasattva that pervades all space. And you yourself have that nature inside you, in your mind. A mind that is free from conceptual thoughts. When you do away with conceptual thoughts and look at the nature of mind itself, you are going to then experience moments of conceptual thought, less pure mind. Depending on one's own caliber, some individuals are likely to experience that state of mind for longer periods than others. And when you experience true nature of mind, then that nature pervades all things, merges with the space, which is all pervading. In other words, this experience is Mahamudra experience. This is the great perfection, Dzogchen experience. When you can train your mind to stay in that mode for an indefinite period of time, then that is called enlightenment. So it's important to be able to meditate on your nature of mind and then recognize when negative emotions arise. And when you recognize negative emotions arise and when you do not put those negative emotions into practice, and that is then in keeping with the tradition of the realized practitioners. And the ones who are not experienced in this practition will be overcome by such negative emotions. When you do not receive the mind empowerment, and then you are just out of control, then you will be something like an old vehicle driven by some thieves and robbers, driving every which way without much control. When you have wisdom, then you will know what is good and what isn't. Alcohol abuse, drug abuse, these you will know are no good for you, and therefore you will not indulge in these bad habits. And when you receive mind empowerment, then you are empowering your mind, mindfulness, the alert mind, and these are empowered now, activated.
Tini tena tata tati tukjuk wangje gangla tingre tena tini tata sakchinda dokchin tamche gangla tawalame chulo ngotu gores tawalama de gare tusum je sanje tamche tukdang tawalama 통에 제발이요 말해. 라마 사제 무슨 공고요래. 공바 담제 많이 봐. 두성제 사제 탐제가 통에 준비시랍당 따블라면 톡 준비시랍 제발이요 말해. 대마든 직디 감내 주고 라마 개위신이 탐제 톡 시랍당 다다랑 그 따블라마 톡 시랍당 제발이요 말해. 시랍 탐은 끼게 다랑시에 반은 진다버리나 총고 또나지 요나 그때 찍어요 말해. 대다 왜 배나 다 다른 내주도록 왕골요래. 왕골 감이 다 다리 나는 세일라 말해. 남벨라마 주 노제선 봐 주라고 닝거나나 요래. 가래리들 미 왕쇼요 되는 왕 토동 상피 계시 대래. 대기 주다리 개랑 요래. 고조스나 잡쇼이 대밤에 야지 주케랑 거라. 디셈데 티비시랍 대종나 다 마음발라. 다 뉴모 게게 똑바 강제라 대탐체. 뉴모 똑바테. 그 왕도 마당네. 진식을 안 사전소나 그 메도리 쳐당 랍진들이 오래 디 지사다나 쳐에 랍된 차롬는 전도고요 다주 레사들이 박차야 다다들 륜데다 저고요 로아르도 륜데 레사들이 박차 저고요 박차가 다 륜데 저고요 등에 삼아 되게 저고요 하지 대주 무슨 소나 뉴모바 시소를 레사가면 레마사는 박차요 박차면 다주 상제로 하변나 다 남글라마 주 들은 배나가 장랑 셈들이 절대 비시랍 들이 상하 르반데 왕데 다 진시데 많이 봐 종당나 디비시랍데 영마송나 고송토 왕 참아 선비요래 상하 담색 직자로 담색 되더니 까보 직탑이야 되래. 직시 건로야 되래. 맹망 보여래. 때 톡조 왕 되래. 디 디비시라도 왕차요 그래. 디비시라로 왕차면 유무 버지스 욕수나. 다 줄라메 제야 요 말에. 세라마네 빼라마레. 난글라마데 미닐라마레. 다랑 tikita 라마레. 때 톡조 왕 되래.
Mind empowerment means introduction of true nature of mind. It is done by one's own root lama. Root lama's mind and the mind of the enlightened beings are the same. That's how you should look at the root lama. In fact, the mind of the root lama and the mind of all other lamas is the same. Remember that example of the moon reflecting in all kinds of bodies of water. So, I am the outer lama. So the inner lama is the nature of Vajrasattva, which is in your own mind stream. That mind aspect of the mind which says, yes, I received the Vajrasattva empowerment. Then you took refuge. You said you would purify negative karma. And that mind, which brings an awareness that you have taken refuge, that you have felt remorse, that you have purified your negative karma. That aspect of the mind is your inner lama, mindfulness and alert mind. When you have these aspects of the mind on guard, then when negative emotions arise, it is just like waves coming on the surface of the ocean, ocean being your true nature of mind. When you do not follow those negative emotions, then where do the waves disappear? They disappear from where they appeared in the first place. when you do not unleash negative emotions, you do not create karma. When you do not create karma, there's no reason for you to make an imprint on your mind state. When you do not carry forward that imprint, then you have nothing to create your next body. So when your mindfulness, mindful and alert mind, when these are on guard, you will recognize afflictions. When you recognize afflictions, then you will not put into practice. You will not unleash these negative emotions, which means you will not create the causes and the conditions to be reborn, which means enlightenment. So receiving the mind empowerment is, in it is both the body, speech and mind. It is sometimes called as know one, know all. So when you receive the mind empowerment, everything else will fall into place, because you are empowering your mind to recognize negative karma. So remember that outer lama and inner lama.
Teni ti kosong to tamse semna pena. Teni rang lu phungang jinji ya hla yin ba shini o sen yongwa nga da hla ga ram yi re. Nang rang phungang jinji tham ye hla ram yi re sa ha ko na. O teni semji tham je phungang jinji rang da jik pa re. O le. Rang la dershik ning bo semji tham je le dershik ning bo yo re. 대인은 다 가시에 드니 sem지나는 쥐랑 니바지노 뉴모 마툴리 쥐래 레당 박차도 쥐래 가시를 싫어요 봐 레도 빠사를 되니 담에 쥐라 빼도 대봐요 봐 원래 되니 담에 쥐고를 적도 받았지 근데 레다 박차 싸봐 싫어 치봐 대다가 되다래 동다 앞에는 그 쥐람 장보이노 니바이노 탐지를 되지 님본도 탐지의 그 평감집지 닭발이 삼사지 딴데 라리 데리서 똑같이 줘 말이 원래 오 탐지 닭발 사이람이 좀 다능기나 소주도 다 넣어요리 오 근데 장보리 있잖아 작발은 전도 근데 니발이 있잖아 나와는 전도요리 오 라마 개베신이는데 라마데 야보리 있잖아 저 대바데 찌요리 양적 니발이 있잖아 저들아 lokkache kore, tari tepa cheri te lokkache te tar dham do yori bena, khambaya ashik marshik garshik bedi te, yungu yoni te na, tanang somi che sati, ta chori chung kangyang chungo goyo mare, ta yungdien kari re de rang sem derchik nyingbo de, dorje phalam nangye, ta de kase teni chama mena, teni koyo cheri do, teni sanji ge yungdien, rang sem ni yungu gore, yini tsago mare, rang ni yini yoga re, dorje phalam go, dorje phalam kola yore mane, 이거 총당고 말해. 배때는 게더니 차당니가 다 잘서나. 이 생부용이 연구요래 됐나?
Now the samaya is pure vision. Having received tantric empowerment means you have to have pure vision. Once the 5 skandhas of one's body, 5 elements or dhatus, 5 sense bases, they all must be seen as pure. 5 elements are pure, should be seen as deities. Skandhas and the elements must be seen as deities. If you do that, then knowing that all sentient beings have your own Buddha nature, that means all sentient beings are also pure. There's no difference between yourself and the sentient beings, because all have the Buddha seed in them. But sometimes you come across people with bad habits, bad attitude, and understand that these are because of accumulation of obscurations. Other times you come across people who are very, very, who have very good attitude, who are well behaved. Again, in this case, you should understand that it is because of less accumulation of less obscurations, whether one is well behaved or otherwise, good attitude or bad attitude. It is important after receiving this empowerment that you view all as pure. When you say this person is good, and in kicks the attachment. When you say this person's bad, when there's your aversion, we need to avoid these. If you say, well, this is a wonderful Lama and generates devotion, you are accumulating merits. And then you turn around and say, well, that Lama is not so good. You create negative karma. One nullifies the other. So, since we all have the Buddha nature, and that Buddha nature is in the mind, it is very important to view all sentient beings as pure. Body, speech, and mind samaya. Body samaya is seeing all sentient beings as pure deities, treating all sounds as the sound of mantra is the speech samaya, and not following conceptual thoughts, letting them come, letting them go, just like waves arising and waves disappearing. That would be the mind samaya. Conceptual thoughts are like thieves. Mindfulness and alertness in the mind is like the owner of the properties. So, being alert, not following conceptual thoughts, would be the yishit rolpa, or the play of wisdom. So those are the body, speech, and mind obligations or samaya after receiving the empowerment.
Teni ta nor duna ta sangye ke ale napsa pardo so chok yore de ko cho so le chap so le chok re ta kandi chap ko do mus re pe ta ne ha ko go re pe na gari chap ko do jina sangye ke chap jebe shirab de re 충분히 돼 닝제들에 다 조랑 세미 나는 요 가지로 왔지 대 니게 빼나 땅은 또 동해게 저 강리 해당으로 왔지 빼나 미역이 줄은 거 잡히는 땅은 알라니 소비면 송을 되는 게 되다지 노바 잡힌 땅에 초대라 콘트롤랑나 다 메티 초를 노바 탱요래 그 콘트롤 대 냐바르게 저러하지 야다 산지 거래서도 오 메티 파마 제요래 등게 nga 리차 별로고 답고 다당가는 노바 땅거요 있어 주 삼년제 지나 그 가야 탑이요 말에 배나 줄라 노바 탱요 말에 그 무슨 짭탑을 했지 줄을 뉴모 받게 해당대양 다다 깨적 말에 똥반이 해당 오월 아버지 매와 신에 해당 나사라잖아 남칼을 또 봐매한데 매도 요래 때 돈 담배 때 봐. 돈이 그 봐래. 돈이 등 hinge니 네 봐대가 무슨 주다다. 나 잡건도 와. 랑거라는 시계는. 대니가 뭐는 주 해당 기마다도 주 매적 세나. 챈들라야 동해래. 제 스마일 야와라 제요래. 이 피누데 싸우 들이 주줄 아닌데 뭐지.
In conclusion, taking refuge in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, taking refuge in the Buddha helps. Buddha can protect us, give refuge in this life, next life, and in the Pardo stages. You can say how so and investigate yourself. One's alert mind is the Buddha. Compassion is the Dharma. And pain and sufferings arise from aggression and anger. Just like it was taught in the 37 Bodhisattva practice, if someone causes you grave pain and suffering, if you do not lose your temper, if you do not unleash your anger or hatred, and it will benefit you. If you unleash your anger and hatred, and not only has that person inflicted pain and suffering on you, but you have created negative karma which will be cause for your rebirth in the realm of hell. And Buddha teaches us to treat all sentient beings as one's own parent. If someone does an awful lot of causes pain and suffering to you, you should understand, says the Buddha, that these are as a result of your past negative karma, debt that you owed to this individual which you did not pay. That's how you should think of this misfortune. And when you have anger or hatred, very strong negative emotion, when you investigate these negative emotions do not have an inherent nature. It is like cloud formation in the sky. By the power of emptiness and compassion, one will be able to overcome these negative emotions. And if you have a lot of anger and hatred, when you are overcome by these, then you will do such thing as killing and other things.
대답을 제름다 달라 뛰네 드니 좀 다른 레어 강래해지나 배나 원들이 다다 잡 세고 조선에 잡 휴네 남남설이 말라 잡았어 내가 레어를 껐으면 되네 더비요래 레어 껐으면 되게 사지 희바들 껐으면 사지 껐으면 그도 아니지 껐으면 아니 사지 좀 되네 껐으면 가리네 추가 남가다 딱 때는 남게 가차로 참을 돼요래. 저도 그저 작아요 말했지. 드니들 롱거지 받에 인지 침보가 오래 당만이 거서 잠비도 마셔주는 그 삼인게 공고리 또 인지에다 말아 봐지 곰도 인지 체르 손은 근데 똥만이 딱 인지니 쳐다보면 이제 카카메가 차대 Ninjiram Jindeke, that's simply Dungi Tamja, Longo, then it didn't know how to Jatun Dava. Then he let up what I'm saying, Toya Yoba, Keja Shea Yoba, good up there Yoba, Chotamon, good up Tama Longo, but there your head. Then he took it in the Longo and Tom, but then he simply laying about water to kill a langsuna. Oh, that took it in a Mustin, water to sausage jokes in it. Lekajin, Yamder, then he paint a coyote earlier. Padula, Pondula, Nordula, Norsong, Drama Loretta. They simply tampi, the paint on it. They sing water, made water, drink down, chapa, lasopa, samba, chola sopa, tampi, tama truckerate. They don't have person. Oh, Chilam tampi, cosum granny, Madeba red, tampi cosum than a sanguine. Not the need to toya your age. The crime.
So, 3 outer refuges, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. And when you actually practice, it is the 3 roots, Lama, Yidam deity, and the Dakini. And the result of that taking refuge and practice of the inner 3 roots is the actualization of the 3 kayas, or 3 bodies of the enlightened being. Dharma, Sambhoga, and Nirmana kayas. And Dharmakaya is like the huge expanse of space. Sambhogakaya is the manifestation of Dharmakaya. It is the compassion of the Buddha taking form like the rainbow in the space. And those people with very little obscurations will be able to see the Sambhogakaya state of Buddhas, talk to them, see them, and receive the excellent and common siddhis. And the 3rd kaya is the Nirmana kaya. Nirmana kaya manifests as human beings or other sentient beings come to the 6 realms of existence and fulfill the needs of sentient beings. Whosoever desires the sun will get this sun. Those who desire wealth will receive wealth. The fruits, for example, flowers, clouds, rain, bridges, water, everything conceivable, they are all Nirmana kaya Buddhas.
Yo, Taeyang. The Tamangane took a ray, in Tapanago, Sangha Tongshin, Lamsan Hakore. But any theatre with the Yundi data, Guy Yori dinner, Pena, Dombo, Chimbo, and Driver, you can something about your marriage, Ashkota and Driver. Theatre was Semitini, Simotona, Yore Pena. Sim chicken on the costume with you and DJ, Musu Yore, Simotona. Carry dinner. Oh, Sam Corn, more Toma, then Tong the Ming Dajameva, Nampana, Chardo, Yore, Mendomeva. They took up some red. This all Rangati, oh, Middle something, Choras hours a year. They long of some red. Told you don't buy it. Theatre uniform. Oh, don't buy it. Cheron Chung. All the Namke Kachab chap the Namkana, dinner, dinner, Medokama, or chap the one on your. They took up some red. Didn't Hingi or something or red, the penna. Took the something in Jongo your. Did it not on your red?
Launcher Sava Kale Soso.
Longo Sava, Sava, Ramji Sava. Don't want you. I can't send the data tambo. Can't send the send the don't mind you there.
Someone told me, Ming document with the chocolate. Did a launcher Zogul carry or something?
Don't mind you about chocolate.
No, sir.
I'm can't get ziggory. Can't,
no, sir.
Can't touch it data.
Oh, that hackers.
Okay.
Okay. Rinpoche says, when you have understanding of the tantric teachings, then you will see understand the nature of your mind. when you begin to see the true nature of your mind. That experience on which you cannot possibly put a label, that kind of experience is the sowing of the seed of Dharmakaya, Rinpoche says. Then understanding that that nature is, emptiness is, sowing the seed for some actualization of Sambhogakaya state of Buddhahood. And then that compassion part which accompanies the emptiness is the nirvana, sowing the seed for the actualization of Nirmanakaya state of Buddhahood.
Teni te tata tokpal seba la tata nga so 강ling jena zo yinping ge lo de semjin tamje pamayi samba semji sokcha midang kang son hong na pe na ngi sa go yo le pe na tata ni min di kang thong jena abo mi chi la te na o chu kare sam ge do a de ni ngo shi ge mare kare sam ge do kang cho ba yo mare ya lo ge pa jeng na就怎么的啊？这咋的？你爸爸接回来的，不没给我哦，你那些妈妈接，我怎么才嘛接了吧？我听讲的他哦，你怎么接的？什么接的？上，这里什么的？这里蓝什么接的？这娃子接用过的，但就这娃子你到一边拿不到了，你妈来了，这娃挺积极了，你一边拿不你带的边了，上这个上学sem就没去送的。첸더 축군데 지와 체람 망볼라 라야 메벤 노 데레 데사고 초사도 데사고요 다 데사고 탈 니마리는 니게 가세 게트 데사고래 다 데사고 탈 니마리는 니게 가세 게트 데사고래 내리 속고래 니게요나 니게면은 잡을 게 줘요나 핀토 강요 말해 되나.
The mind willing to benefit others is a very precious mind. Therefore, you should have compassion for others. In a crowded situation, when you look at an old man, you should think of that as your father, because he has been your father once upon a time. When you see an old lady, you should think of her as your mother. When you see a young lady, you should think of either your sister or your girlfriend, because that's what had taken place in the past. Love and kindness is just like wish-fulfilling jewel. That's why the Buddha said, the precious bodhicitta, where there isn't bone, may it be born, etc. This one?
근데 강연되는 네 샘도 상기의 인용 다다 난진이다 차당스럽나 되니 되니 차그럼 다 저대요. 되니 대쇼고는 이핑으로 삼hinge도 좋다 그래. 대미는 자완이 도야요. 돈이 다다 저도 공부는 신의 가장 공부용인데 삼hinge 맞지는 상제그랑 또지 자완이요 말이. 다른 철시나 산이 방칸도 그래. 니가야셔 뭐나 방칸도 그래. 오래 뉴모바디는 양 방처럼 차로요. 양 신의도 공부를 때에서 sem프로 보죠. 양 뉴모바를 좀 큰거지 핀도요 말에. 디팅이 담제 상호 땅. 되는 가서 총걸 땅 게.
Mind is the reason for one's reaching enlightenment. Mind without attachment and clinging. Whenever there is attachment, then mind freezes. And that frozen ice cube must be melted with willingness to help others, which is kindness and love towards others. And if there is no loving kindness and compassion, it will be extremely difficult trying to stabilize the mind, which is what shamatha meditation or calm abiding meditation is all about.